Welcome, you deep divers. Today, we're embarking on a really fascinating journey, a deep dive into some ancient wisdom.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Our source material for this, well, it's a real treasure trove, insights from early Buddhist texts, and we're focusing specifically on these teachings structured around fives. So our mission today, it's pretty clear. We want to pull out the practical wisdom. How can you use these ancient ideas to navigate learning better, handle relationships, fuel your own growth?
Right.
We're aiming for these easily digestible nuggets you can actually use.
And that structure, the fives, it's what makes this collection, sometimes called the Book of Fives, so helpful. It's not just random thoughts. It gives you these structured ways to grasp complex ideas. And yeah, the context is ancient, but the principles, they feel remarkably relevant for today, don't they?
They really do. It's surprising.
They offer these frameworks you can, apply right away.
Okay, so let's unpack this first bit. Our sources jump right in with some pretty powerful advice on becoming a better learner and also how to share knowledge effectively.
Exactly. And what's insightful, as you said, is it's not just about brain power.
Right.
It's so much about your mindset, your attitude going in.
So what do they say holds us back?
Well, they talk about these 5 conditions for understanding the true Dhamma, the teachings, basically. And a lot hinges on what hinders understanding.
Okay.
It's often our own internal stuff, like disparaging the talk or the speaker, or even thinking, oh, I can't get this. That self-doubt.
That makes sense. Setting up a wall before you even start.
Totally.
Oh.
Or listening with a distracted mind. They call it a mind that's not unified, anakagasito.
No.
Or just not paying proper attention, ayoniso manasik haroti. Your mind's everywhere else.
We've all been there.
And then there's being dull, or maybe worse, being conceited about what you don't know, thinking you've got it all figured out when you don't. Ananyate anyatamani.
Ooh, that's a subtle one. Pride getting in the way.
Exactly. And also being deceitful, maki, or always looking for faults, mandagavesi. If you're just trying to pick holes, you miss the point.
Right.
And finally, having ill will towards the teacher, that just shuts the door.
So the opposite must be true for enabling understanding.
Precisely. Not disparaging. Listening with a focused mind, proper attention, being wise, not dull, and humble about what you don't know.
Okay.
And being free from deceit, maki, not just fault-finding, and having an open mind towards the teacher, It's really about that receptive, clear state.
That's really helpful. So our internal state is key for receiving knowledge.
Yeah.
But what about keeping it, making it last? And sharing it? Do the texts talk about that?
They definitely do. It's not just about the aha moment. It's about what happens next. How do you stop it from just, fading away?
Yeah.
So they explore these 5 factors for the disappearance of the true Dhamma versus its persistence.
Okay. Disappearance first. What makes wisdom vanish?
Well, it's kind of the opposite of what we just discussed. Not earnestly listening, not learning it properly, not retaining it, not examining the meaning, and crucially, not practicing it.
So inaction, basically.
Yeah, but also things like not studying the different kinds of texts, the discourses, sutta versus gaya, analysis, vyakaran, and so on, or not explaining them to others, not reciting them, not even thinking about them deeply.
So it requires active engagement on many levels.
Absolutely. And other things too, like learning it poorly, dugahita, being hard to admonish, resistant to feedback. Or if the elder monks, the leaders, become lazy and give up effort. And maybe the biggest one, disunity in the community. Conflict. That really erodes things.
So persistence is the flip side.
Exactly. Diligently listening, learning, retaining, examining, practicing, studying all the texts, explaining them well, reciting them, contemplating them.
And the community aspect.
Being easy to admonish, receptive to guidance. Elders being energetic, seeking solitude for deeper practice, and the community being harmonious, supportive. It's a whole ecosystem for keeping wisdom alive.
Wow. So it's not just the message, it's the whole context, how we speak, why we speak, how the community functions. This has huge implications for communication today, doesn't it?
It really does, which leads perfectly into the 5 qualities of well-spoken speech. This is so practical.
What are they?
Speech should be timely, kalina, truthful, saka, gentle, sanchia, beneficial, apasita, and spoken with loving kindness, metasitina.
Timely, truthful, gentle, beneficial, kind. That's a powerful checklist.
Isn't it? It's not just about not being rude. It's about effective, constructive communication. Making sure your words actually help, not harm.
And does this connect to teaching others?
Directly. There are also 5 qualities for teaching Dhamma to others. You should teach sequentially, anupubhakatha, show how things connect, pariyadasavi, teach with compassion, anudayata, not do it for material gain, namisantaro, and avoid harming yourself or others, attanakaparakamuntapaka.
So teaching should be structured, compassionate, selfless, and harmless. That's a high bar.
It is. It emphasizes the responsibility that comes with sharing knowledge, especially spiritual knowledge.
Okay, this is fascinating. It makes you think about all communication, which brings up another point. Why do people even ask questions? The texts actually dig into the motivations.
They do, and it's quite revealing about human nature. There are 5 reasons for asking questions.
I'm intrigued. What are they?
Okay, so first, maybe just out of stupidity or dullness, not really thinking.
Right.
Second, out of ill will, trying to trap someone or make them look bad.
A gotcha question.
Exactly. Third, out of contempt, to show you think little of them. Fourth, the genuine desire to know, which is, the ideal reason.
Hopefully the most common one.
We hope. And fifth, this is interesting, asking with the intention to answer yourself if the other person can't, sort of showing off your own knowledge.
Wow. That really makes you pause and think, why am I asking this? Or why are they asking me that?
Doesn't it? It adds a whole other layer to conversations.
Okay, so sometimes conversations get tricky, like when you need to offer maybe some constructive criticism. Admonish someone. That's delicate territory. Do the texts offer guidance?
They offer very specific guidance. The 5 principles for admonishing others.
Let's hear them.
It mirrors the well-spoken speech idea, actually. Admonition should be timely, factual, gentle, specifically not harsh, beneficial, so helpful, not pointless, and done with a mind of loving kindness, not ill will.
Timely, factual, gentle, beneficial, kind. Again, that seems to be a recurring theme.
It is. It's fundamental. And then it adds another layer. How you should respond. If you're admonished correctly, you should feel remorse, want to improve.
Okay, take it on board.
But if you're admonished incorrectly, say it wasn't factual or it was harsh, you should try to remain composed, recognize the flaws in their approach, rather than getting defensive or upset.
That takes self-awareness. So it's a responsibility on both sides.
Exactly. It's focused on growth, not just blame.
What about dealing with our own difficult stuff, like strong negative emotions, maybe towards someone specific, or just dealing with difficult people generally?
Yes, there are practical methods for that too. There are 5 ways to overcome ill will towards a person.
How do you do that?
1, actively cultivate loving kindness, metta, towards them. 2, cultivate compassion, karyun. 3, cultivate equanimity, upekkha, seeing things without attachment or aversion.
So actively shifting your emotional response.
Right. Or 4, deliberately don't pay attention to their faults, asatiyamanisikaro. Just let it go, don't dwell on it.
That sounds hard but useful.
And 5, reflect on their kamma, kammasakata. Remember that they are the owners and heirs of their actions. Their actions have consequences for them, not just for you. It creates a bit of distance.
That perspective shift is powerful. Does it get more specific about different types of difficult people?
It does, quite vividly. There's a section on 5 types of individuals and how to overcome ill will towards them using these great analogies.
Okay, I love analogies. Let's hear them.
So first, someone with bad conduct but good speech. Think of a rag picker finding a piece of good cloth in a dirty rag pile.
So focus on the good part, the speech.
Exactly. Second, bad speech but good conduct, like a pond covered in moss. You clear away the moss, the bad speech, to drink the clean water, the good conduct.
Okay, focus on their actions, not their words.
Third, someone with bad conduct and bad speech, but maybe just occasionally they have a moment of mental clarity.
Tricky one.
The analogy is like drinking water from a tiny puddle on a path. You have to lie down carefully to sip it without stirring up the mud. So you focus patiently on those rare moments of clarity.
Wow, that requires patience.
It does. Fourth, someone with bad conduct, bad speech, and very rarely any mental clarity. This is compared to a sick person on a long, difficult journey.
So less focus on finding good, more.
More compassion, cultivate compassion, wish for them to get better, to abandon their harmful ways. You recognize their suffering.
That's a shift. And the 5th type?
The 5th is someone with good conduct, good speech, and a clear mind. This person is like a clear, cool, refreshing pond. You can appreciate all their good qualities. It's easy to feel well towards them.
These are brilliant. They acknowledge the complexity that people aren't just one thing.
Precisely. The wisdom is in knowing where to place your attention to maintain your own peace of mind, your own non-ill will.
Okay, so we've talked about dealing with others. What about when our own minds get messy? When we can't think straight? What clouds our minds?
Yeah, the classics. The 5 hindrances. These are the main things that block understanding and clarity.
What are they?
Sensual desire, ill will, sloth and torpor, that heavy, sleepy, sluggish feeling.
Ugh, know that one.
Restlessness and regret, the agitated, jumpy mind, or getting stuck on past mistakes. And finally, doubt specifically, skeptical doubt that paralyzes you.
Okay, the 5 hindrances. And there are analogies for these too.
Fantastic ones. They compare the mind to a bowl of water. Sensual desire is like water mixed with bright dyes, red, blue, yellow. You can't see your reflection properly.
Distorted. Got it.
Ill will is like water that's boiling, bubbling fiercely on a fire, totally agitated, impossible to see through.
Makes sense.
Sloth and torpor is like water covered over with moss and algae, thick, murky, obscure.
Okay.
Restlessness and regret is like water whipped up by the wind, wavy, disturbed, unclear reflection.
Yeah.
And doubt is like water that's muddy, turbid, and placed in the dark. You can't see anything at all.
Those are so vivid. So the point is,
when these hindrances are not present, the mind is like clear, still water. You can see your reflection perfectly. Understanding becomes possible, even insight into things you'd forgotten. Removing these is key to clarity.
So managing these hindrances, cultivating good communication, having the right mindset for learning. What ties all this together? What's the foundation for growth?
The foundation, according to these texts, is virtue, sila, ethical conduct.
Virtue? How do they explain that?
They use a powerful tree analogy. Imagine a tree. If its branches and leaves aren't healthy, it can't develop strong bark or solid wood or reach its core, its heartwood.
Okay.
Similarly, without virtue as the base, you can't develop right concentration. Without concentration, you can't gain true knowledge and insight. Without that, you can't achieve dispassion, letting go. And without dispassion, there's no liberation, no freedom.
So virtue is like the roots and trunk.
Exactly. But if you do have virtue, then concentration, knowledge, dispassion, liberation, they all naturally grow and flourish from that foundation. It really is the starting point for any meaningful progress.
That's clear. Now, a lot of this sounds quite deep, maybe aimed at monks or serious practitioners. What about everyday life for, regular lay people? Do the texts offer guidance there?
Oh, absolutely. Very practical guidance. The 5 precepts are presented as the bedrock for lay practice.
The 5 precepts, remind us what they are.
Sure. Abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from lying, and abstaining from intoxicants that cause carelessness.
The basic ethical guidelines.
Right. And the texts are very clear about the consequences. Violating them leads to inner turmoil, agitation, lack of self-confidence, fear, and bad outcomes. Maybe even a negative rebirth.
And observing them
Leads to confidence, peace of mind, freedom from fear, and positive outcomes, like a heavenly rebirth. There's even a sutta, the Rasha Sutta, that points out, hey, people get punished by kings for doing these things, killing, stealing, lying, not for refraining from them. It's common sense ethics for well-being.
So it's about understanding the natural results of your actions.
Exactly. It's not just arbitrary rules. Then they draw this really stark contrast between a lay follower who is like a dog outcast and one who is like a jewel.
Wow, strong language. What's the difference?
The dog outcast type lacks faith, is immoral, is superstitious, like believing in lucky signs instead of understanding karma, cause and effect. They also seek blessings or guidance outside the Dhamma, the teachings, and they prioritize giving gifts or support elsewhere, not within the spiritual community that upholds these values.
And the jewel.
The jewel has faith, is moral, believes in karma, not superstition. They don't seek blessings outside the Dhamma, and they prioritize supporting the community that shares these teachings. It's about aligning your actions with your stated values.
That's a very clear picture of commitment. So beyond just personal conduct, how does a virtuous person impact the community? Is there a benefit to others?
Definitely. They list 5 benefits for families when virtuous monastics visit.
What kind of benefits?
When such people visit, the family members develop purified minds, which can lead to a good rebirth, maybe heaven. They gain respect, high status in the community. They overcome stinginess by practicing generosity, which leads to inner strength or power.
Interesting.
Through giving, they might acquire greater wealth, a natural consequence of generosity in that worldview. And by listening to the Dhamma from these visitors, they gain wisdom. So it's a mutually beneficial interaction.
That makes sense. Yeah. Are there things lay people are specifically advised not to do for a living?
Yes. 5 trades a lay follower should not engage in. These are seen as inherently harmful.
What are they?
Dealing in weapons, dealing in living beings, which meant things like slavery or human trafficking, maybe even animal trading for slaughter, dealing in the production or sale of it, dealing in intoxicants, and dealing in poisons.
Because these directly cause harm or suffering.
Exactly. They either harm others directly or they cloud the mind, making ethical living and spiritual progress much harder.
Okay, this next bit sounds really interesting. The power of leading by example. You mentioned a story.
Yes, the story of Gavesi the lay follower, it's fantastic. It really shows the ripple effect of personal commitment.
Tell us about Gavesi.
So, initially, Gavesi and his group of like 500 followers weren't perfectly virtuous. They were okay, but not fully committed.
Right.
Then Gavesi has this realization. He thinks, I need to do more. I need to go beyond Atirikaya. So he commits himself to perfecting his virtue, the 5 precepts.
Okay, a personal decision.
But here's the thing. His followers see his sincere effort. They see he's serious. And inspired by him, they also resolve to perfect their virtues.
Wow, just by seeing his example.
Just by his example. Then Gavesi decides to take another step. He commits to celibacy. And guess what?
His followers followed.
His 500 followers followed. Then he resolved to eat only 1 meal a day. Same result, they all adopted the practice.
Incredible.
Finally, Gavesi decides to go all the way. He ordains as a monk. And the text says he quickly attained liberation, arahatship.
And the followers.
Inspired yet again, all 500 of them ordained too, and they also all attained liberation.
That's amazing. What a powerful story about leadership.
Isn't it? It just hammers home the point. Sincere personal example can inspire transformation in others far more effectively than just telling them what to do. Your own commitment radiates outwards.
That's profound. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Some people take on even more demanding practices like asceticism, forest dwelling, wearing rags, that sort of thing. What do the texts say about the reason for doing these things?
This is a crucial point they make. The motivation behind these intense practices is everything. They list 5 types of ascetic practitioners, covering various disciplines like forest dwellers, aranyaka, rag robe wearers, pasukulika, those only eating alms food, pichapatika, and so on. There are quite a few listed.
Okay, and for each one?
For each one, they stress that the wrong reasons are doing it out of stupidity or ill will or maybe some kind of mental imbalance or even just doing it because, the Buddha praised it, but without real understanding.
So just imitation isn't the best reason.
Right. The highest and best motivation, the one that makes the practice truly fruitful, is doing it due to fewness of wishes, contentment, effacement of defilements, seclusion, and for the sake of the present state of liberation.
So it has to come from a place of genuine desire for simplicity, purity, and freedom.
Exactly. And they use this wonderful analogy of milk products to illustrate the superiority of pure motivation.
Milk products.
Yeah. Milk, kira, is good. But from mill becomes curds, dadi, which are better. From curds comes fresh butter, navanita, better still. From butter comes ghee, sapi, even better. And from ghee comes the clarified essence, the cream of ghee, sapi manso, which is considered the best, agamakayati.
Ah, so the pure motivation is like the finest essence.
Precisely. It elevates the practice from just outward hardship to something deeply transformative internally.
This ties into contentment, doesn't it? Finding joy inwardly.
It does. There's a passage advising lay followers to aim for secluded joy, apivakabhati, an inner happiness not dependent on external things. And it notes that when you achieve this kind of joy, 5 other kinds of sensations, unpleasant ones linked to sensuality or unwholesome states, but also even pleasant ones tied to worldly things, they just cease, they fall away.
So finding a deeper, more stable kind of well-being.
Exactly. A joy that comes from letting go, not from getting more.
So practically, how do we overcome these inner obstacles, these defilements like desire or ill will, to reach that state?
That leads to the 5 elements of escape. Nisaranatuyo. This is a very direct mental technique.
How does it work?
For each of the 5 major defilements, sensual desire, ill will, harmfulness, clinging to form like attachment to the physical, clinging to self-identity, the idea of a fixed me, the practice is to deliberately shift your mind's focus.
Shift it where?
From the defilement to its opposite. So if sensual desire arises, you consciously turn your mind towards renunciation, towards letting go. If ill will arises, you turn towards non-ill will, towards loving kindness.
Ah, like replacing the negative thought with a positive or neutral one.
Essentially, yes. By repeatedly redirecting your attention away from the defilement and towards its antidote, the mind eventually finds release, finds escape from that defilement and the suffering it causes. It's a way of actively retraining your mental habits.
That sounds very practical. Okay, moving beyond personal practice, These texts sometimes offer wider social commentary, don't they? Insights into society, wisdom itself, even the path of a Buddha.
They certainly do. There's a really intriguing one, the Soita Sutta, about 5 ancient Brahmanic customs now found among dogs, not Brahmins.
Among dogs.
Seriously. It says ancient Brahmins had certain standards. They only partnered with Brahmin women only during fertile times, didn't buy or sell partners, didn't hoard wealth or grain, and got their food fresh daily, not storing it up.
Okay, specific customs.
Then the text says, basically, today's Brahmins don't do this anymore. But look at dogs. Dogs still follow these patterns, mating only with their own kind at certain times, not hoarding food.
Wow. That's quite a comparison. What's the point?
It's a subtle, maybe even sharp critique. It suggests a decline in ethical standards or a loss of original simplicity within a respected social group, using this very unexpected comparison to make the point. Values can be lost, even by those supposed to uphold them.
That is fascinating. And it raises questions about status versus actual conduct.
Exactly, which is tackled head-on in the Dhamma Sutta. This one talks about 5 types of Brahmins.
5 types. Based on what?
Not birth, but conduct. The Buddha defines them as Brahma-like, Deva-like gods, delimited following basic rules, corrupted delimited rules but compromised, and outcast-like.
And these definitions depend
on things like whether they practice celibacy, their marriage customs, how much wealth they hoard, how they make a living. It's all about their actions.
So redefining status based on ethics, not lineage.
Precisely. And the story features this Brahmin named Duna, who initially approaches the Buddha full of pride about his high birth. But after hearing the Buddha's definitions based on conduct, Duna reflects honestly and realizes, uh-oh, by these standards, I'm actually in the outcast-like category.
That must have been a shock.
A big one. But it leads him to humility and taking refuge in the Buddha's teachings. It's a powerful lesson about self-reflection and what true merit really consists of. It's earned through action, not inherited.
That's a great story. So shifting back to the teachings themselves, how did people express their appreciation for something so profound?
There's a lovely passage, the Karnapali Sutta, where a Brahmin named Pinjani praises the Buddha's teaching, the Dhamma, using 5 beautiful analogies.
More analogies. What's the other?
He says the Dhamma is like being completely satisfied by the finest, most exquisite food essence, so you no longer crave lesser tastes. It implies the Dhamma is supreme, the ultimate satisfaction.
Okay, supreme satisfaction.
Second, it's like a starving person finding a fresh honeycomb. Whatever they taste, it's pure sweetness. It means the Dhamma brings immediate joy and delight.
Joy and delight.
Third, it's like smelling the finest sandalwood. Whether you smell the root, the bark, or the leaves, it's always fragrant, meaning the Dhamma is consistently wonderful, bringing comfort.
Comfort and delight.
Fourth, it's like a skilled doctor instantly curing someone of a grave illness with a single remedy. The Dhamma heals the fundamental suffering of existence.
Healing. Powerful.
And fifth, it's like a person exhausted by heat and thirst finding a clear, cool, tranquil pond. The Dhamma brings peace, refreshment, and an end to striving.
Peace and refreshment. Those 5 really capture a deep appreciation.
They really do.
Yeah.
And to emphasize how special this all is, another text mentions the 5 rare occurrences in the world.
What's considered rare?
The appearance of a fully enlightened Buddha, someone who can teach the Dhamma discovered by a Buddha, someone who can actually understand that teaching when they hear it, someone who puts that understanding into practice. And finally, someone who feels and expresses gratitude for it all.
Wow. It makes you realize how fortunate it is for all those conditions to align.
Exactly. It underscores the preciousness of the opportunity to encounter and engage with this kind of wisdom.
And speaking of Buddhas, the texts even give us a glimpse into the Buddha's own journey before enlightenment.
Yes, they recount the 5 great dreams the Buddha had just before his awakening, along with their interpretations. They're very symbolic.
What kind of dreams?
One was that the great earth was his bed, the Himalayas his pillow, his left hand rested in the Eastern Ocean, his right in the Western, and his feet in the Southern Ocean.
Whoa. What does that mean?
It symbolized that he was about to attain supreme, unsurpassed enlightenment encompassing the entire world.
Makes sense. What else?
Another was that a type of grass grew from his navel and reached up into the sky. This symbolized the Noble Eightfold Path, which he would teach to gods and humans.
The path reaching everywhere.
Right. Then, white worms with black heads crawled up his legs as far as his knees. This represented the many white-clothed lay followers who would come to take refuge in him.
Interesting symbolism for lay people.
Then, 4 birds of different colors, blue, gold, red, and gray, flew from the 4 directions, landed at his feet, and all turned pure white.
And that meant?
This symbolized people from all 4 social castes or classes, Katiya, Brahmana, Vesa, Sudha, leaving their old lives, entering his monastic order, and realizing the same ultimate liberation, becoming pure white, regardless of origin.
A message of universality. And the last dream.
He dreamt he walked back and forth on top of a huge mountain of excrement, but without getting soiled at all.
Okay, bit different. Meaning?
This symbolized that although he would receive many offerings from people, robes, food, lodging, medicine, he would use them without any attachment, clinging, or defilement. He remained untouched by worldly gain.
Profound dreams foretelling his future role. That's incredible.
Isn't it? And just to round things off with a slightly different kind of 5, there's one text on 5 interruptions to rain that even seers supposedly can't predict.
Interruptions to rain? Like what?
Things like unusual heat in the upper atmosphere, strong winds dispersing clouds, a mythical being called Rahu obstructing the water, the rain deities becoming complacent or negligent.
Okay, atmospheric and mythological causes.
And the 5th one, unrighteous conduct by humans.
Human behavior affecting the weather.
That's the implication. It suggests this deep interconnectedness, that human morality, or lack thereof, can influence the natural world. It's a nuanced view of cause and effect that includes an ethical dimension.
That's a fascinating, almost ecological perspective from so long ago.
Okay.
So, we've covered a lot. As we wrap up this deep dive into all these 5s, what's the big takeaway? What really stands out for you?
What strikes me most is how practical these lists are. They seem simple, just lists of 5, but they provide these incredibly useful frameworks. You can use them for self-assessment, for improving how you interact with others, how you learn, how you manage your mind, right across the board.
Yeah, they're like mental checklists for living better.
Exactly. From basic ethics to deep spiritual practice, they offer these clear points to focus on. It really demystifies a lot of complex ideas.
And it hammers home that core message, doesn't it? That this ancient wisdom isn't just theoretical, it's deeply actionable. It gives us real tools for navigating life today.
Absolutely. It all comes back to how we listen, how we speak, how we treat people, how we manage our own minds, and crucially, the intention behind it all.
It really does feel like a blueprint for a more aware, more ethical, maybe more contented life.
I think so. Which leads to a good final thought, perhaps, for you listening. Yeah.
As you reflect on all these different sets of 5s, we've explored the ways to listen, the qualities of speech, the hindrances, the ways to overcome ill will, the reasons for practice maybe consider. Which one of these 5 particularly resonates with you right now? Is there one area where focusing your attention maybe just on timely speech or overcoming sloth and torpor or reflecting on why you ask questions might subtly but powerfully shift your experience day to day?
Yeah.
How might paying attention to just one of these lists bring you a bit closer to that clarity and contentment we've been talking about?